If your birthday comes and goes and you don't feel anything, that's not nothing. That's actually telling you something really important about yourself. Most people assume that the aunts who don't celebrate their birthday just don't care. But the truth is almost always the opposite. They care deeply. They just learned somewhere along the way that it was safer not to show it. There are two kinds of people in the world when it comes to birthdays. The first kind counts down the days. They want the cake, the dinner, the texts from people who actually remembered. They want to feel seen. And then there's the second kind. They wake up on their birthday, check their phone like it's any other morning, maybe reply to a few messages with thanks, and just move on. No big plans, no expectations, sometimes not even telling people it's their birthday at all. If you're the second kind, people around you probably say things like, "Oh, you're so chill," or "I wish I was that laid back about it." But you and I both know it's not really about being chill. There's something else going on underneath that. And today we're going to get into exactly what that is. Here's what it actually feels like from the inside. You're not someone who hates attention. You don't think birthdays are stupid, but when your birthday gets close, something subtle happens. You start to feel this quiet pressure, and the easiest way to make it go away is to just not make a big deal out of it. Maybe you've told yourself, "I don't need people to celebrate me," and you believe that. But then your birthday passes, and nobody really does anything, and there's this tiny, almost invisible sting that you push away as fast as it comes. Or maybe the opposite happens. People do something nice for you, and instead of just enjoying it, you feel uncomfortable. You don't know where to look. You say, "Oh, you didn't have to," like you're apologizing for existing, and the moment it's over, you feel relieved. Does that sound familiar? Because if it does, that's not just personality. That's a pattern, and patterns always have a reason. So, where does this come from? Let's start here. When you were younger, and this could be as far back as early childhood, you learned something about what happens when you need things from people. Maybe your needs were met sometimes, but not consistently. Maybe you asked for something and it didn't come through. Maybe your birthday was forgotten once, or turned into something uncomfortable. Or people around you treated celebrations as something that wasn't really worth the fuss. When that happens enough times, your brain does something smart. It lowers your expectations before you even get the chance to be disappointed. It's a protection strategy. Psychologists call this emotional self-regulation through avoidance, and it shows up in a lot of quiet, subtle ways. Treating your birthday like a normal day is one of them. Here's the mechanism behind it. Your brain links the idea of wanting something like to be celebrated with the risk of not getting it, and not getting something you really wanted. That hurts more than never wanting it in the first place. So your brain finds a shortcut. It says, if you don't want it, you can't be let down by it. The problem is, you do still want it. You just don't let yourself know that. There's also something called anxious attachment that plays a role here for a lot of people. If you grew up in an environment where love or attention felt inconsistent, not always absent, just not reliable, you might have developed a habit of shrinking your emotional needs. You learned that needing people too much felt dangerous, so you became self-sufficient. You stopped asking, you stopped expecting, and your birthday became the clearest version of that pattern. Once a year, right on schedule, there's also a layer of this that's tied to something called the fear of vulnerability. Asking people to celebrate you feels exposed. It's basically saying, I matter, and I want you to show me that. And if you've been let down before, or if you grew up in a home where emotional expression wasn't really encouraged, saying that out loud, even just by having birthday expectations, can feel like way too much. So you preempt the whole thing. You downplay it. You say it's just a day. And here's the part that gets really interesting, because the people who do this aren't usually the ones who don't care about connection. They're often the ones who crave it the most. And what I'm about to tell you next is the part that most people never realize about themselves. The birthday thing is a mirror. How you treat your birthday is often how you treat your own needs in general, not just once a year. All the time, you probably also downplay it when you're overwhelmed. You'll probably say, I'm fine, before you've even checked in with yourself. You'll probably help everyone around you, while quietly hoping someone notices you need help too, but never actually asking. And here's the real sting of it. The more you shrink your needs, the more invisible you feel. And the more invisible you feel, the more it confirms the belief that started this whole thing in the first place. That your needs don't really matter, it becomes a loop. And your birthday is just where it surfaces most clearly. The thing is, you don't actually have to keep running that pattern. The fact that you recognize it already puts you ahead of most people. So what do you actually do with this? Here are 4 things that are practical and grounded in how this stuff actually works in your brain. Step 1. Notice the story you're telling yourself. The next time your birthday comes around, or honestly, anytime you catch yourself minimizing what you want, pause. Ask yourself, am I genuinely okay with this? Or am I just protecting myself from disappointment? Those are 2 very different things. Awareness doesn't fix everything, but it interrupts the automatic pilot. Step 2. Practice wanting small things out loud. This sounds almost too simple, but it's backed by a lot of research on building secure attachment patterns. Start telling people what you actually want in low-stakes situations. Not on your birthday. Start with something easy. I'd actually love to go to that restaurant. Can we do the thing I want this time? Every time you voice a preference and the world doesn't end, your brain updates its threat model. It starts to learn that needing things isn't dangerous. Step 3. Let people celebrate you without deflecting. This one's hard, but the next time someone does something kind for you, even something small, try not to immediately minimize it. Don't say, oh, it's nothing, or you really didn't have to. Just say thank you. Let the moment land. You don't have to perform gratitude, just stop blocking it. The discomfort you feel when people focus on you, that's not a sign you don't deserve it. That's just a feeling your nervous system learned. Feelings can be updated. Step 4. Give yourself the acknowledgement you keep waiting for from others. Psychologists who work with self consistently find that external validation is never going to fill the gap if you don't also build internal validation. That means marking the day for yourself, not for anyone else. Write down one thing you got through this year, one way you showed up for someone, one thing that was hard that you handled anyway, not because you need to celebrate yourself loudly, just because you deserve to acknowledge that you're here, and it counts. The goal isn't to become someone who throws a big party. You don't have to want that. The goal is to stop punishing yourself by pretending you don't want anything at all. Because the truth is, you do. And that's not weakness. That's just being human. If this hit closer to home than you expected, subscribe so you don't miss the next one.